It's another edition of Vibes on Vibes. Welcome, guys. If you're new here, do well to subscribe and click on the notification button to be notified when we have any new episode coming. So today we are hitting to the sports session where we have a coach who is willing and then is going to share more of his experiences with us inside the gallery studio. So hit on the notification button and let's go. I am your host, Magnus. I'll allow my guest to introduce himself.
I'm Kandumah John, a teacher and a football coach.
So, Coach, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. John, that's the name, right? Mr. John.
Yeah.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the history of your coaching?
Well, I'm Kandumah John, like I indicated earlier. I'm from Sankana, a village in the Nadoli-Kaliu district.
Okay.
I started playing football from my youthful days, living with my grandmom, who was not usually interested in seeing me going to play football. There were instances I had to go and play and come and would not get food to eat. But we had the passion.
Everyone passed through some.
Yeah. Because of the passion, sometimes we sacrificed not to eat just to play for the area guys. Okay. So as growing up, my grandmom was a very strict woman.
Okay.
I started getting into football really when I got to the senior high school, where I started playing for the school team. Then some few juvenile clubs in the region started poaching me, and so finally I decided to join Yellow Masters in 1998. In 1998, when I joined Yellow Masters, playing for their under 14 for just a season, and I graduated to play for their under 17 a year later, where we qualified to the National Milo Championship that was held in Cape Coast. The following year, we qualified again for the National Milo Championship that was held in Obuasi in the Ashanti region. And I think after that, 2 Division 1s were in this region, Upper West Heroes and Kwamax FC. Both clubs were after my services. But looking at the 2 clubs, Kwamax FC seemed to look like a club that gave opportunity to younger players then. So I chose Kwamax FC over Upper West Heroes. After playing for Kwamax FC for 2 seasons, I deserted football and went back to school to study, where I acquired my diploma in basic education at the Son John Bosco's College of Education in 2007. When I returned, I decided to play for a while again. After 2 seasons, I felt that things weren't going well. So I chose to retire, as I called it, and my colleagues were making fun of me that I became the only footballer in WA who officially said that I had retired from football. But all through my juvenile age, when I was playing, the young ones that I was also a bit older than, I gathered them and claim I was coaching them, guiding them to play matches, taking them to areas to go and play matches. And so I started this coaching job at a very tender age, not knowing what I was even doing. And so at that point, these days, I know that it was somehow a passion for me. Until in 2015, when I had an opportunity. Before 2015, I had taken the Upper West Regional Under 15 team to Tamale in 2006 and won them a bronze medal. And so in 2015, while All Stars were looking for a juvenile coach, and someone within the technical realms saw some potential in me and recommended me to be taken as a juvenile coach for the club. And so when the club approached me, I embraced the opportunity and started working. Then and there, I began feeling that coaching could become a profession for me. I could use coaching as a means of impacting the younger ones who might get the opportunities that we never got. We were not lucky in our days when we were playing. The game was not as exposed as it is today. Knowledge about it was very little, if not in existence. And so when we started and we realized that, okay, if we are able to use the little education we have to do some little research, it will help us work or help some of the boys. And so after a half season, while Stars the juvenile team was not anymore. So the club suspended my services. And so whilst I was at home, based on the experiences that I have, then Wa Power Sporting Club in 2015 approached me halfway in their season to help them. And I helped. They qualified to the Middle League. And at the Middle League, we managed to qualify for the MTN FA Cup. But the season that I should have led them to play their first ever MTN FA Cup, things didn't work out well. I had to leave the club, where myself and some other colleagues, we decided to start a new project that gave birth to Wasonta Sporting Club, one of the famous clubs in town, who just got relegated from the National Division 1 League last season. And so I think this is how I started my coaching career, and it has taken me somewhere somehow.
So talking about football, why football? You could go into basketball, cricket, any of the sporting activities, but I chose football. Why football, Ankasa?
Why football? I gave you a brief background of myself, how I started.
But you're a coach. You could go and coach other sporting activities.
You become a good coach on an area you have little knowledge and little experience over. Okay. These are sports that my knowledge on them is not as compared to football. And though knowledge about these games are on the internet and other places for you to research into, but the research information you have and the experiences you have shared in participating in the sport helps you become a better coach. And so that is why I chose football instead of the other sports.
So with what you said earlier on, you didn't study football, like I should say coaching. You just created your own team at the beginning, which you grew them from the scratch. So did you make an attempt to go back to school to study coaching, or you just felt like what you know you are going on it, or you just want to go, maybe make a time and then you go back to school?
I think we don't study coaching as a subject in our schools. Coaching is a professional program. Usually they would organize short courses for you to upgrade yourself in terms of your licenses. And I think that as early as 2013, when I began feeling that I should take up coaching as a profession, then GFA President Akwesi Nantechi, with the likes of the late Uncle Ben Kofi, Kudazi, and the rest were in this region to do a FIFA Ghana Football Association introductory coaching course, which I enrolled myself into. And so fortunately for me, in 2015, whilst I was working with Wild All Stars, I had an opportunity to undertake a FIFA grassroots coaching course in Takoradi in 2015. Okay. And then in 2017, I enrolled to pursue a CAF coaching licensee program. Okay. And I think that is the highest certificate I have as at now. But I have plans to enroll into the B, the A, and if possibly the CAF Pro, or if I have the opportunities, pursue UEFA Pro license outside the country.
Okay, that's cool. So, what's the difficult or the most difficult part you faced as a coach so far, from, let's say, the time you started playing football till now? What's the most difficult part you played in as a coach?
The most difficult part I have faced as a coach is when you are working for a club and the club actually does not believe in you. And when I say this because if you look across Europe and across the world, coaches are hired because of the trust and belief that the team has in the coach. But in our part of the world, we are too results-oriented that when results are not coming and things are even working well, one might say that how are things working well when results are not coming? The team is playing well, they are creating chances, they are not scoring. But from where you sit, you see that there's some bit of ill luck on the part of the team. Okay. Why would you think that this should be the issue of a coach? But in our part of the world, performance or factors of performance have just been narrowed down to just the coach and nothing else. And so usually when results are not coming, nobody sits down to think about how we're treating players. Are they Are we giving them the best of welfare that is giving them the right frame of mind to think well and be able to give results? Are we having some issues as management members or club owners that we've not been able to address that is probably creating some sort of tension within the team? Are we having some run of bad luck, or it is just that the coach is not good? But in our part, it is always that the coach is not good. And so in some instances, you see club officials inciting fans and telling them all manner of things about you. And sometimes they come to the park and my wife loves football. My wife loves football. She's a very, very supportive woman when it comes to my career as a coach. She comes to the field mostly. Yeah, Idris Ramatu and the kids. Shout out to you all. Mostly she comes to the field. And I think that on that score, I will have to just say she's a strong woman, because there are instances you are on the field, the results are not coming, you and your kids, and they are insulting your husband. And you just have to hold your calm and just look over it. And so these are the instances that I think that they are the most difficult moments I've faced. And I remember in a particular game, particularly from where we come from, people come from neighborhoods where they have their friends and family members playing for clubs. When they are going to the field, their thinking is to just go and ensure that or see that their friends or relations are playing, and when they are not playing, nothing is working. Because I remember in a game where we're leading 2-0 at home comfortably against a former Premier League side, but someone came to the field, and because his friend was not playing, he had to throw water at me because he thinks that his friend should have been playing.
I was going to talk about assault.
There are instances that you play matches and you come back. There's a draw away from home where you think that, the boys have done well as a coach. It's not that bad in a very difficult ground, particularly where we come from, where everybody thinks that you must win your home match. So you go and get a draw away from home, and you come back, and your club owners are questioning you why you drew the game, questioning your tactics. And so much is placed on the coach that there are instances that, if not but for my wife, sometimes I think of quitting. But she has always said that, look, I see you as a national team coach. If you quit, how do you end up coaching the national team? And she has always been a very big motivation for me.
You've touched on another point. I was about to talk about quitting and then the assault. If we touch on the two of them. So let's go into Ghana football and Kasa, like the national team, that's Ghana Black Stars. You see, they randomly change coaches after they lose their matches. So what's your take on that? Do you feel like coaches shouldn't be changed regularly? Like, it should be maintained for a quite long time, because he has to study the team. You know, when you come fresh like that, you have to study your team for a while, send them to a game and see how they perform. They come back and draw your I don't know how you do it, but kind of like go through your former outline and how you made the players to go and play, and then the formations. Yeah. So do you feel like coaches shouldn't be changed randomly, and they should maintain for some time, a quite long time? Because sometimes, as what you said earlier on, it's not always the problem or the fault of the coach.
Yeah.
Mostly it's the fault of the players. Sometimes you can ask them to go and play this kind of style. The way start to change them. Some will be playing selfish game, and others will also be playing their own style.
I think that I've answered this question over and over on the issue of our national team coaches. And I remember I had a series of interviews with lots of media houses when Akwesi Appiah was shown the exit from being the head coach of the senior national team.
Okay.
I said that he might not be the best coach, but Akwesi Appiah was not entirely the problem. And ever since we fired Akwesi Appiah, we brought in CK Akono, we brought in Milovan Rybak, we brought in this former Brighton coach, Chris Houghton, and we brought in Otuado. Akwesi Appiah still remains better than all these coaches. And so building a solid national team goes beyond just a coach. The coach could be part, but he's not just the absolute person that everything rests on. I keep saying this, that when we build a solid national team, without disrespecting you, even with your little knowledge in the game, when you select a team, you win a match for the national team. go and look at how national teams are built. And once they build these national teams, they become super and they cannot be beaten. We have moved away from building teams just to assembling players all the time. And the team is different from the individuals. You can have a collection of stars, but you might not have a team. And you can have a very good team without a collection of these stars. I say this because when you take our national team, mostly take the current crop of Black Stars players, and you struggle to see 3 of them who has played together in any of our junior national teams. These are players, we are always there. Because these days we have DSTV, we watch the European game. As soon as we hear that there's a Ghanaian player who is playing for this club and he's doing well, the GFA sends somebody to go and get the person. So we pick these players with diverse cultural backgrounds in terms of football culture and bring them together, and we expect that we should have results. Every national team or country has its football culture, and before you bring players together to come and play in these national teams, they must be players that understand the national team football culture before they can give you results. And I use this as an example. The team that gave us the best of performance in terms of the national team that you and I have seen, because I know you may have heard, I have seen Abedi Pele play. I know you may have not seen him play.
For sure.
They are about the best players, but they never got us to the World Cup. But when the Stephen Appiah, Sule Muntari, John Pencil, John Mensah, they are a crop of players who took us to the 2006 World Cup, the 2010 World Cup, made everybody proud to be a Ghanaian. And even you see some people who were Europeans saying that they are proud to be Ghanaians, particularly in the South Africa 2010 World Cup, because of the performance of these players. You check their backgrounds. These are players who consistently have had some stint with our junior national teams and know how things are done and have been together and understand each other and how they even behave. So Stephen Appiah knows that these are things that when I do, Sule Muntari is not happy. Sule Muntari is aware that these are things that when I do, Stephen Appiah is not happy. So they understand themselves that they don't do these things. But you just hear that a certain player is playing for Fenerbahce and he has Ghanaian parents. You just try, you go, you bring them, you put them together, and you want to get results. They don't even understand each other very well. Something that you would say, and I should ignore it because I know that is how you are. Because I don't understand you, when you say it, it becomes a problem, and I take you up on it.
So the fundamentals are not well.
The fundamentals are just not there, and so we cannot have a solid national team. Because before we had that team, then FA President Kwesi Nanteci, then FA President and Uncle Ben Kofi in 2004 said that he wanted to build a team that would qualify us for the African Cup of Nations in 2006, the World Cup in 2006, and the Olympic Games in 2006. And so he started what he called the 5-year development plan. And in starting the 5-year development plan, he went to the Winneba Sports College and made sure that they looked for players from our senior secondary schools and camped them in these places. Went around to watch our Ghana Premier League, selected players, invited them to come intermittently. And so anytime they were going to call junior national teams, the call was made of these players that they went around the country to select to be part of the team. And so that team, that particular team, was a team that qualified us to, Michael Essien and Nkwe qualified us to go and play in the 1999 New Zealand tournament. When they played and they saw them, they started picking all of them and putting them into this team that was geared towards building a team that will qualify us. And so if you look at Michael Essien, Michael Essien, John Mensah, Ibrahim Razak, Razak Pimpong, Adikwe Papu, Derek Boateng, and a host of others had all played together in that 2009 under-17 team and played in the 2001 under-20 team in Argentina. And so they understood themselves. And when they came from the World Cup in 2001, Ghana was going to play in Mali 2001. They drafted a core of them and sent them to the Mali 2002 Cup of Nations. They played there. In 2004 in Tunisia, AFCON, we didn't qualify. 20 years down the lane, we are missing AFCON again. In 2004 in Tunisia, we didn't qualify, but they didn't discard the team. They kept the core of the team together. And in 2006, they qualified for Egypt and qualified for the World Cup. At the Egypt tournament, Ghana performed abysmally. Zimbabwe knocked us out of the competition. We wore some blue-black jersey, and Ghanaians said that it was doomed. So I've never seen the Black Stars wear that jersey again. But we kept faith in that team. They went to the World Cup. They were in the group, mainly called the Group of Death, a group that had comprised of Italy and Czech Republic, who were at that time the first and second best placed teams in terms of FIFA ranking at that tournament. And the USA was doing very well at that time. But we qualified from that group and eventually got knocked out by Brazil, who went all the way into the finals to be defeated, I think, by Germany for the ultimate trophy. We came back, we didn't discard the team. It was that same team that we added when Dede Ayew and Co also went to the 2009 World Youth Championship. We picked Dede Ayew, Dominic Adia, Jonathan Mensah, Rabiu, Ajimambadu, and then Daniel Niaje, and added them to the team. So at any time that the Black Stars had a good team, you saw some level of consistency in terms of player progression and transition from one national team to the other. Today, Kudus played the under-17 alone. None of his mates is in the Black Stars with him. Fatawu has none of his mates in the Black Stars with him. Count them. For those who have never played for any junior national team, they are uncountable. And so when you bring these players together and you expect them to perform magic, let us forget it. And so Apesi Apia can go. I have said times without number. Bring Pep Guardiola, the best coach in the world, arguably. And who do you think would assist him? Take any coach to assist him. Bring Carlo Ancelotti, who has won the most Champions Leagues as a coach, to be the technical director of Ghana. And we continue to do these kind of things. Our national teams would continue to be like this. So it is high time we look at how to build a solid national team than bringing in coaches and sending them out like a Casanova who brings in ladies in and out of his room.
Okay. So let's talk about Let's talk about Upper West football, right? Is there hope for Upper West football? The football clubs in Upper West?
There's lots of hope with mixed reactions. We have talent in abundance. And with the talent, it means there is hope. But we don't have resources in terms of both human and financial resources. We have very limited human resource as far as the game is concerned. Okay. I say this without hesitation because take a region like ours, and we have just 3 CAF licensed A coaches, of whom only one is resident in the region and currently not coaching any club. The other 2 are outside the region. One working with Kumasi Asante Kotoko as their goalkeepers coach, and the other one won the Ghana Premier League with FC Samatex last year. Oh. The region has just 2 licensed B coaches. One working with Legon Cities at the moment, and the other one is unattached because he's having some other works doing in Tamale. We have less than 10 licensee coaches. Fortunately for us, in recent times, because of the GFA's quest to increase the number of coaches, we have a couple of licensed D coaches, which I think now we can be ranging around 100 plus. When you come to the administrators, these are technical men that I am talking about. But even with these technical men that I am talking about, majority of them have just launched onto the opportunity to be coaches. But as to whether they want to sacrifice in one way or the other to actually strive higher in this course is another thing. Then when you come to administrators, it's very difficult. Most of the administrators in the region are people who have passion and are doing football, and not people who see football as business. And football now is purely and entirely business. And that is why even per the FA's own regulations, you must register your football club as a limited liability company by guarantee before you are allowed to join the association to play. So it tells you that you are joining an association that they expect that based on your activities, you should be making money from it. But in our region, majority, about 70 to 80, I think I'm even being charitable in terms of my percentages, who are people who are owning clubs here, are people who are doing club football as a passion and not a business. And so every day you see that there is little or no opportunity for the Upper West player. Football has developed so much that last season, clubs in Tamale transferred players straight from their Division 2 league in the northern region to Europe. It is even difficult for us in this region to transfer our players straight from our Division 2 league to Ghana Premier League. Why? No exposure. You can't come and tell me that you have a striker, he has scored 10 goals just by writing. What is the evidence? We are not able to ask. We have 29 Division 2 clubs playing in this region. If you go and check how many of them have YouTube channels. If they do have, how active are they? Do they upload videos of these boys for people? How do they publicize for people to go there and watch this particular player, this and those kind of things? And so when you have talent that you cannot unearth and develop well, then yes, because of the talent you say you have hope. But because of your inability to unearth and develop this talent very well, then I might say no, because once you are not able to unearth and develop the talent well, then the future is not actually as bright as we may see it to be.
I'm sure someone will be watching out there. The person might be like, what's the difference between business in football and the other one you mentioned? Say business and passion.
And passion.
Right? So what's the difference between business in football and passion in football?
Passion in football is where I love football. I want to have a football club. Just for people to say I have a club.
Okay.
And the business is where I am owning this club and I am treating the club like the cement owner's cement shop, okay, the supermarket's owner's supermarket, where he is investing in the supermarket to make business, where it will not be like, I as a club owner, I see it as when a player is playing for my club, I am giving him a privilege. This is how we look at it as a region. When somebody is playing for someone's club, the person thinks that for me creating an opportunity for you, it's a privilege that you've gotten to play for my club. And if you are looking at it from a business perspective, you are looking at it from the point that once he's playing for my club, it is once I invest in him that I would be able to sell him to the next club and be able to make money from the sales. So you know that if the player plays at the end of the season and I don't expose him to the outer world or a club that is bigger than my club, I would have run into a loss. But because of how we handle these clubs, that sometimes we are not even able to provide boots for the boys to play. Some of our clubs are there sometimes, even water at training, they restrict players from the amount of water they have to take, because if they take more, it means they want to put some financial burden on these clubs. And so when somebody is complaining as such, he is doing football as a passion and not as a business. Because if he's doing it as a business, he will know that the welfare of this player would inure to the future financial security of this club. Most of our clubs, even these days, because it's easy to sit any corner and use your phone and have a social media handle, a Twitter account or a Facebook account, some of our clubs would play a match for 90 minutes. You follow them on their social media handle. There is no updates. The goal is scored. You don't even know who scored the goal. They don't. So many things are missing. Daily updates, hourly updates, and the rest.
Someone might be of the view that is the work of the media people that are around.
Wow. You as a club is supposed to have a media outlet. And that is solely the responsibility of your media outlet. When you go to, sometimes Sky Sports will go and pick their feed from Chelsea FC's website.
Okay.
Is that not it?
Yeah. This is my team, guys.
So once the media is supposed to pick or feed from your media outlet for their information, because sometimes it's difficult for you. Maybe a club can sit in Accra, they don't know who your PRO is, but they can pick information from your media outlet and write a story. But if you are thinking that you should sit in Accra and know that there's a club in Wa called Kalibi Sporting Club and write a story about them, Kalibi would never be heard of in anywhere. But once he keeps consistently following and realizing that Kalibi is doing something positive on the media limelight, he sees that there's a particular player week in, week out, they are sharing his videos. Before you realize, he's sharing the players' videos and the rest. They'll come and tell you that a player has made evidence. He's a good ball winner. He watched the video, 3 minutes video, and realized that within the 3 minutes video that he has watched, the boy was able to win about 5-6 balls. He's a good ball progressor. He sees him that anytime there is space, he's able to progress the ball. He's a good goal scorer. He sees that in the 3 minute video I have watched 3, 4, 5 different matches. He has scored in those different matches. He can also, people will just share. People sometimes would even just go to your media and to do what? To share. But if you don't put out the information there, how would the media, the mainstream media people get information about your club? So yes, it might be the responsibility of the media, but you are supposed to feed them with the information. Because if you have a funeral in your house, or I have a funeral in my house, then I get to the house and nobody's mourning and you are eating, I'll join you and eat. And so we have to put out the information there for the mainstream media to come and capture.
So you spoke about selling of players. Can you walk us through how players are sold to other clubs?
Players are sold to other clubs on 2 bases. The first one, where if the player is more than per the FIFA regulations, FIFA believes that a player who is less than 13 years cannot start playing football for any serious reasons. So they don't pay compensations for players who are less than 13 years. And they also believe that if a player is more than 23 years, you cannot train him anything again. So they don't pay compensation for players who are also more than 23 years. So amateur players who are between 13 and 23, what clubs enjoy from them is not the sale money, but training compensation that is calculated based on the federation or where you are going to play.
Okay.
And where if the player is 18 years and above and he signs a professional contract and he's signing on to the next club, then you decide that I am signing Mr. A to you, Club Z.
Okay.
For his professional contract with me, because I used to pay him about 200 Ghana cedis, 200,000 Ghana cedis every month. And I realized that he has played for me for the last 2 years. Usually these are the things that influences how much a player is quoted, his performances and the wages he was taking at the club. And so if I look at the wages I was giving to the player, vis-a-vis his performance once he's leaving, what I stand to lose, I'll quote a price. Okay. And when you think that it fits within your financial strengths, you pay. If it doesn't fit, you can negotiate. When we agree on a percentage, you pay. But when you pay this money, and this player is still within the ages of 13 and 23, if there is a club he was playing before I signed him as a professional player, his FIFA transfer compensation will be calculated on and given to him. And because clubs used to run away with some of these things, FIFA decided to introduce what they call the FIFA Connect Match system, where when you register me from today, my information will be on the system. If I move to Club B, my information is transferred there, but you see that I move from Club A to Club B. If I move to Club C, it's the same thing. So when there is compensation or when there's training compensation to be paid, FIFA will know that you played this club for this number of years. Their federation compensation is paid on this amount. They calculate it based on the fee that the selling club would receive and pay your own to you. And I think just recently, you may have heard that Haruna Iddrisu made away with over 7-point-something million euros when Fatah Ishaq moved from Sporting Lisbon to Leicester City.
Yeah, I don't really follow football,
so I'm just telling you. So he made over 7.5 million euros from
That's
just
money.
the onward transfer fee of a single player, Fatah Ishaq. And before then, he had already from Steadfast to Sporting Lisbon, he had already made over 1.8 million euros. And so there is some good money in football, but you have to invest well, project the players well, and you'll be able to recoup the necessary profits.
So what should Upper West Football Club or football academies do to sell the region?
Very difficult because of the financial situation of most of our clubs. For instance, what many people do is to take their players on trials. Just yesterday, I saw on social media where Northern City from Tamale, they were here yesterday to play against one of our Division 1 teams in the region, where two of their players are going to Europe on a 2-week trial. And when you are taking your player on a trial, mostly what happens is that the club will give you an invitation. Based on that invitation, you are able to secure a visa. But most clubs will not pay for the airline ticket when the player is coming. Sometimes, if you have already shown some credibility in terms of player production, quality players, some clubs would make it okay. Let the player come. When he is good, and we are going to sign him on, his flight ticket in and out will be factored into whatever negotiations we are going to have. But where you still don't have any credibility of player transfer, like if you take most of our clubs, because I'm yet to know a club in Upper West that have credibility when it comes to player transfers, because nobody knows you. All the clubs in this region, nobody knows us. And so those doubts would be there. So you have to foot the bills of the players in and out. And so when a deal is true, then you can then go and make some money. Now you ask yourself, how many of our clubs can they say that they should provide $7,000 for a player's airline ticket in and out, and possibly accommodation and other things, and they'll be able to? Because some of our clubs' entire season budget is not up to 10,000. Some of our clubs, their entire season budget is not up to 10,000 Ghana cedis. Asking him to bring $7,000. Don't you think that it will be a difficult thing for these clubs? Some of our clubs, even $700, $1,000 would be a problem for them. And so what we can do is to try and have links with clubs that have this track record of being able to transport players out of this country. And so that when you have good players, you can link up with these clubs so that they will make some good money and you would also make some little money from whatever money that they would have made. One of the challenges I have observed growing up in this region is that majority of us want to owe 100% of these clubs and not being able to make anything out of it, rather than getting people who can come in and support for us to owe little percentages of it and make more money. Because I say sometimes you can owe 30% of something, which is better than someone's 100% ownership. Because if I owe 30% of a club, and at the end of every year, they are able to sell a player and I get $3,000 from the sale of players, that is for my 30% share that I owe. And you also own a club. A whole season, you don't make 200 Ghana cedis. Between I and you, who is owing a better investment?
You, 30%.
I am owing a better investment. But our clubs barely see this. They don't trust anybody because I'm not sure they even trust themselves. So it is difficult for them to bring in people who are financially ready to come and support. Every day I hear people say people don't support football in Upper West. I disagree with many of these comments because this is your studio. Who comes in here and doles money for you to continue to do the things you are doing here? This is your business. If we want people to support football clubs as charity, then they should start supporting the supermarket owners, the photo studio owners, and every other young person who has invested in football. Because sometimes I laugh over it. If a young man like you is owning a football club in this region, we think that people owe it a duty to go and support the person. But we don't see that we owe it a duty to support you as a young person like you who owns a photo studio in this region. If we are thinking, and we chastise politicians and other people for not supporting our businesses, it doesn't make sense to me. So for me, I think that our clubs should open up, market their clubs using social media. Majority of our clubs don't have even a website. And the last time I said it, and one of them said that, the money used in building a website is huge.
Oh, you can come and get me. I'm a web developer.
So You are a web developer.
Yeah.
Trust me, if you ask any of our class to bring 1,000 Ghana cedis for you to develop a website for him, he would see it like, hey.
In terms of website, it's not really about the building that.
That's. Can you go and build a house without buying a land?
No, never.
So some money must go into this. And so once you're able to have a website and you try to link up all your social media handles through the website, or you have a YouTube channel, anything that you want to post in terms of visuals, post it on your YouTube channel, copy the link and share it on your other social media handles for people to click and watch. But we don't think that these things are necessary. Clubs even have just Facebook pages that the ones managing it, they don't see the need in giving them money to buy data to post.
Yeah, for sure.
You think that because you have come as a media person, if I ask him to come and be my media officer, I feel that because he has accepted to be my media officer, he should do everything. If you ask clubs to buy even a phone, because you cannot expect me to use my phone that I'm using for my other things for your club work. Clubs have IT officers that they cannot even provide laptops for. So generally, our clubs are not willing to invest. They are not willing. One, they don't have. Two, they are not ready to go and look for investors. Because when you ask them to go and look for investors, the person will come in, he puts in his small money and very soon he wants to take over the club. Why won't you document?
Court.
At the end of every season, our budget, at the start of every season, our budget is this. If I'm owing 20% of the club, I provide 20% of the resources. If you're owing 80% of the club, you provide 80% of the resources. When money comes in, we share it. You take 80% of the monies that have come in. I take 20% of the monies that have come in. But you want me, you call me, oh, you want boot. You expect me to buy boot and give to you to go and put in your business. Tomorrow, you call me that you want a camera to come and put in your studio. I have to help you also buy because you're also a young person. And so our clubs owners should look at how to form partnership, look for clubs who they can serve as feeder clubs. I am waiting for one day for one of us to get up, go to Accra, look for Togbe Afede, the owner of Accra Hasufok, or the board chair of Accra Hasufok, and tell Togbe Afede that Togbe Afede have this my small project in the Upper West region. All I just want from Accra Hasufok is that every season they'll give me their old balls, their old jerseys. House of Folk will be when I have a player, House of Folk is the first point that the player will come. Until House of Folk doesn't want that the player come, Togbe will be very interested. A lot of people will be very interested. But we are seated here. Our club administrators, some of them don't even know anybody. Our technical men, we don't know anybody. And so if I don't know anybody, the boys I am coaching, I want to coach them and they will end here. No, I should know some other coaches who are coaching in other bigger clubs so that I'll be able to tell them that, coach, I have player ABCD, he has quality ABCD. I want him to come for you to assess him. If he goes and they see him and he's doing well, then good, he's good to go. Most of our players who have moved into the Ghana Premier League has never disappointed. Currently, one of us, our boys from Babli, Fuseni Walid Neymar, is captaining in Swatreman FC and he's playing well. He's with the Black Galaxies.
Okay.
You understand? So some good players at the same Martin Swatreman. One of the boys from the Lambuse area, Stephen Diu, is there. He's playing well. You have quite a good number of our players who are now even plying their trade outside this region. In Rwanda, in Tanzania, in Ethiopia. There was a boy from Jarapa in 2019. He was part of the original team that I took to the Upper East region to win the first ever gold medal for the region as far as second cycle football is concerned. Diala Francis, he's currently in Rwanda playing football. So there is some good talent in this region. But how to unearth and market or develop this talent?
And I would like to find out, are you being paid in coaching?
For now, I am running my own club, so I'm not paid. But most of the clubs sometimes we work for, I won't say they pay us, but they give us money to buy fuel. Because what they give to us, you can't call it salary by the labor laws of this country. So if I say they pay us, I'll be a liar because per the labor laws, we can't call that salary because if you convert it to the minimum wage that they say they should pay people, it might not even match up with the minimum wage. So you can't call it salary. Maybe you can see we get some allowances from some of the club. But at the moment, I coach my own club,
what's the name?
Kalibi Sporting Club, a project I started on my own, and because I feel that most of the things sometimes you want to put out there, majority of the clubs you want to work out with. It's difficult aligning your philosophy with the club's ideologies. And I have struggled in working for clubs. And I just think that I need to have something on my own, particularly as far as our region is concerned. And so maybe when you hear that I'm coaching a club either than Calibi Sporting Club, it's most likely going to be outside the region. But for within the region, I think I want to focus on how to project Calibi Sporting Club, develop some good talent for us to be able to market them. And as a club, we started on our own way, in our own way gradually. Last season, we were able to carry every single player that we registered to the capital of this country, Accra, and organize series of friendly matches for them to play and expose them to some clubs. This year, there are plans underway to take them to somewhere bigger than where we took them to last year, for them to be exposed to other bigger opportunities. And I
you have to invite us to come along.
Yeah.
Since you have a number, my manager's number, you can contact us.
We'll contact you to come. We shall be launching our website along the line.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I didn't know you were into it.
So don't worry.
And so, but the one who developed the website for us is not actually here. He's based in Accra.
Okay.
So once you are at home, we'll see how we can partner you so that you help us with our media works. So that, because we think that it is one of the ways that we can promote the club. So we'll invite you when we are about launching the website. We think that apart from our desire to qualify to Division 1, God's willing, this season, we also want to ensure that within the next few years, you should be able to see a player playing in the Premier League or playing outside the country. Yeah. And you would hear that it is our club that is the reason why the person is playing there. Our club president, because he has ever schooled in Germany, he has already started working with some of his friends in Germany for us to see how we can share sporting benefits as clubs, where maybe if our players are doing well, they can have the opportunity to have a look at them. There are Ghanaian clubs that have those opportunities with clubs outside this country. It is always possible for us to do most of these things. So I urge our clubs to keep on working on some of these things so that we'll be able to project the game for it to go higher. There's good talent in this region, but if we don't work on it, it will not be realized. In 2019, we beat Afenejan and his team to win the trophy. Afenejan has moved to play for the Black Stars, played for AS Roma, and he's currently playing for Juventus Team B. None of my boys has been able to travel outside this country, but they beat Afenejan and his team. And at that time when I met Afenejan, he told me he had already signed a contract with an agency called Atta Legacy. Here, we don't even have any football agency around here. And because of the distance that we have, a lot of the football agents don't also want to come. So I would urge our club owners to try and form partnerships. Now that we have an airport, we can always sometimes contribute, fly in some agents, play some organized games at either the Nadoli McCoy Park, the Waspo Stadium if it is in good shape, or the new stadium that is yet to be commissioned, so that they would come and assess our boys. And very soon we'll also start watching our own on TV, so that we would have realized our dreams of trying to project players. Because today, at least I have one boy who is currently, about 3 boys who are currently playing their training in Kazakhstan. And then one is currently in Iraq. Amin Rafik is in Iraq. Francis Yaga is in Kazakhstan. Emmanuel Yaga is also in Kazakhstan. And I think that if we continue to do one or two things well, our players will be able to go to some places.
So before we end, I'd like you to put out your social media handles there, or your team, your football club.
My personal social media handle, I'm Kandumah John on Facebook. On Facebook, Calibi Sporting Club is also on Facebook, and you can follow us and share with us. And I'm sure if you share whatever information you have on our social media handles, we urge our players to subscribe and follow you on YouTube. I think from you have to get to know your YouTube channel so that I can subscribe to always follow you on YouTube.
Yeah. So guys, try and follow him, and then if you're also interested in getting a coach for your club, do well to link up with Sir John. I call him Sir John because he's older than me here. So do well to also subscribe to our channel, click on the notification button to be notified when we have any new comment out. I sign out. I am Mark Mills, your host.